Any continuous improvement program heavily relies on you maintaining your standards. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And today we will be talking about management's role in maintaining standards. No matter whether you're doing lean or TPM or any type of operational excellence continuous improvement program, any Kaizen event you want to keep running somewhere, you need management to really step up in maintaining standards. Now, Paul Allen, who did a wonderful series of 15 lessons on lean and continuous improvement, and you really should check out that series, he made a nice video about specifically that you need to maintain your 5S boards. And I wanted to sort of add to that video and double stress the need for management to make that happen indeed. See, the thing is, when you are doing improvement, continuous improvement, operational excellence, you do that from some basis, right? So you're going to set the next step. You're going to make the next way of doing your manufacturing, doing your operations. Then you capture that in standards. Now, the role of your specialists, the role of your continuous improvement experts, of your engineers, is to make those new standards, to understand all the physics and all the flows behind your process in such a way that they will make the workplace very workable, that they will make the process do exactly what is needed, that they will make sure you have good material specs, that you order the right type of machinery. All of those are standards. And the role of management is to make sure that your people are trained in those standards. So these are your operators and the like who are trained in direct work standards. These are also making sure that you have support departments with all the needed competences and training as soon as they get into your organization or when they move to a different field or when you do some updates. Now, a couple of those standards are, I would say, the critical foundation of you maintaining standards. And two super important examples. If you work with them, you need to show that you maintain them. They are two very visual types of standards. The first one is that shadow board. So what I see very often, especially when I'm in food industry, but basically any industry that's sort of linked to food has this because at some point it was part of quality management, and many factories just have it in general, which is a 5S board. Now the one I drew here is more for tools. This is already when you are getting into 5Sing your workflow, quite often as part of autonomous maintenance, but even when you just do a good organization of your workplace. The other type of 5S board I see even more often, and this is also done sort of outside of the context of a structured continuous improvement program, that is a 5S shadow board with specifically cleaning instruments on them, right? Your mops and brushes and buckets and that type of stuff. Now, unfortunately, I also often see those boards missing all kinds of things. Missing the tools. Or even missing the pegs and the holders and what have you to keep the tools on that board. So the board itself is broken. That will give a very clear signal to anyone working in that department. And the signal is, we don't care about standards. We just made these one day and now you don't have to maintain it. And that, my friends, is not a signal we should be sending, right? When you have a standard, you want it to be maintained. And this is such a visual standard. But that means not just that it's easy to use, but it also means that it's very visible when it's not being used, not being maintained. So, when you want any chance of success on a longer term continuous improvement program, an operational excellence, a Kaizen journey, make sure that management treats this as a very serious problem, which, by the way, it is. Now, you may think that especially those cleaning tool boards, they're a bit, at some point we did a quality initiative, we put them up and sort of nice to have, but we still have the cleaning tools, they're in a cupboard somewhere. If you really think that your shadow boards are a nice to have, then you put in place a very poor standard. Now, I will admit that many of the boards that I see in different types of factories throughout the years have been let's say, more of a wish by somebody in the quality department without really listening to the operators and what they needed at which workplaces or checking which tools are the correct ones. So yes, it is quite possible that your shadow boards are, not the best they could be, but then please just take them away, right? Then just make that decision. Say, we do not have this system figured out. If you do put them up, maintain them. And the same goes, and that example actually comes from a number of Toyota books, and it comes from Toyota culture in lean Kanban. So Toyota doesn't really have this lean philosophy as it has grown in many other industries, but they definitely at the foundation of it. And one of the main things we get from their industry is the Kanban system. Now that more sort of complex type of Kanban, where we have several Kanban cards, and each of your pallets or batches has a Kanban card attached to it, and then when you use it, you put it into an order bin, and it's a whole system of managing inventory stock levels, right? So the Kanban cards here, they are a physical representation of how much product you have in your warehouse, how much you should be ordering, how much is already being ordered. They control the minimum, maximum levels that you have in materials, either inbound goods or ready stock that you have. And the example that they give there also is when any Toyota manager would see a Kanban card lying somewhere on the floor, everything stops. That requires a root cause analysis. That requires the attention of top management of that site, because it just, their mind breaks, right? And it's half a game, but it does show how super, super important it is. If your organization, the people in your organization, allow this system to break down, that means that the entire supply chain system is at risk, which means that you are at a big risk of not supplying your production in time, which means that you're basically messing up your operations, right? This sort of simple paper card system, often with the laminated paper card, things like that, it may look very simple, but this is the result of very good planning of how your material flows should support your production, how much you should have, where it should be, when you order. That is a management system. So if somebody drops the ball on that, then you've got a big problem, because if people are dropping the ball on this, they'll be dropping the ball on all kinds of standards. So see the red line here, that is the same. If you do proper 5S shadowboarding, cleaning tools, shadow boards, if you do proper shadow boards, they are the result of really looking at the process that the people are doing over there. And maybe it is the maintenance process or the cleaning process specifically, but those are critical parts of machine and workplace maintenance. They are important to your operations. So you have to treat them with the respect. And the only way to really get that into the company culture is start from the top. Management should maintain standards. That goes for all kinds of standards. It also goes for all kinds of standard operating procedures and the way you do business. But please, start with the visual ones. Get your management on board as soon as you are thinking of any continuous improvement program, and make sure they stay on board if you want any success in the longer term. So I hope you do not have this problem in your organization, but there's a good chance maybe I triggered a bit of thought, and maybe you can have a discussion within your team on the role of these seemingly innocuous visual standards that have a very big impact on your improvement culture, on your performance culture. So if that did trigger some thoughts, hit that like button, let me know in the comments, and for now, I wish you the best in maintaining your standards. And as always, don't forget to also enjoy the continuous improvement journey.